a ring of black smoke, a garland of light, red lightning, or a hole in the clouds. Make yourself comfortable. Here are some incredible phenomena that are really very scary. One evening in May 2021, as people in the Seattle area of the United States were getting ready to go home, they noticed strange lights crossing the dark sky. They wanted to know what it was about, so they took pictures of them and posted them on social networks, hoping that an astronomy expert could enlighten them about the phenomenon. Some thought it was an airplane, others thought it was a passing light reflected in the sky, while others still mentioned UFOs. And amidst all this speculation, astronomers in the Pacific Northwest were puzzled by the mysterious light show. The Seattle office of the National Weather Service responded that the lights appeared to be related to the SpaceX satellite launch from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Although the lights were quite far away and no noise or explosion resulted, Seattle residents were still frightened by the sight. Finally, they were reassured when they knew that this phenomenon had already occurred a few weeks before and that it was street lights resulting from a SpaceX rocket penetration in the Earth's atmosphere. On December 9, 2009, as the residents of a small town in Norway were leaving their homes to start their day, they noticed that in the sky there was a long and large beam of blue light with a grayish spiral coming from one of its ends. In order to find out what it was, the inhabitants stayed a long time to observe this intriguing phenomenon. The spiral lasted for a few dozen minutes before disappearing completely. Some witnesses described a blue light appearing behind a mountain, which remained motionless before turning outward. It was thought to be a UFO or a rare variety of aurora borealis, or a wormhole. But it was later reported that this event had occurred sometime earlier and that it was probably related to failed flights of Russian RSM-56 Bulava SLBMs. This was later confirmed by the Russian Ministry of Defense, which stated that a failed flight had occurred on the same date. You might as well say that the Norwegians had shivers in the spine. They thought that nothing interesting could happen in their little town. You are sitting on a beautiful beach and you expect to watch the beautiful sunset tonight, but the sun has gone down, and while you were expecting it to be pitch black, you notice that the sky is all red. You are very surprised. Basically, the sun's radiation is white, which means that it contains a mixture of all colors or all wavelengths of light. When this radiation passes through the atmosphere, it crosses and mixes with the molecules of the air, which have the role of propagating the light. The air acts in fact as a filter. The thicker it is, the more it stops the colors. As blue light is more subject to dispersion, during the day, the radiation is direct and the blue color crosses the atmosphere easily, hence the blue sky. But in the evening, the sun's rays pass through an atmospheric layer that is 10 times thicker than during the day. The blue is then dispersed, while the red and orange wavelengths reach us. The red passes through because in the evening, it is less filtered. And by the way, if the atmosphere was thicker even during the day, the sky would be orange-red all day long. Were you already thinking about the end of the world when you saw this flaming red? Don't panic, it's not for tomorrow. Some time ago, some photographers were in Swedish Lapland to observe the northern lights, when suddenly they noticed strange blue lights in the Arctic sky. The lights appeared as two bright spots in the sky above Abisko, Sweden. This was actually a phenomenon resulting from a scientific experiment in the Endoya Space Center in Norway, which launched two rockets, which released metallic powder into the atmosphere inside the aurora borealis. The two rockets were launched 2 minutes apart, reaching an altitude of 320 kilometers while releasing a visible gas. Sometime later, a rocket launch site in Virginia named NASA Wallops Flight Facility said in a tweet that the mission, which is called Azure, was successfully launched aboard two sounding rockets in Norway, and that the colored clouds created a light show in the sky, helping scientists to track the flow of neutral and charged particles in the Earth's ionosphere. The photographers really thought it was an alien attack since they had never witnessed such a sight in their lives. Fortunately, they were quickly reassured about the origin of these strange lights. All in all, it is good that they attended this. They will have taken unpublished and especially extremely rare photos. In December 2020, near Saint-Lô in the Manche region of France, an internet user observed a strange phenomenon in the sky. She saw a series of small lights in the dark sky, forming a kind of light garland. She then posted the photo on Facebook, asking other internet users to help her understand and identify this phenomenon. If some people naturally thought that aliens were coming, and others thought that Santa Claus was coming because of the current situation, other people, much more down to earth, thought it was a Russian trick. But it is nothing of that kind, because in truth, it was about gas discharges in the sky, which avoids all the unusual and far-fetched hypotheses. At the time, the ExxonMobil oil site of Port Jérôme-sur-Seine, located not far from the region where the events took place, declared in a press release that a gas incident, more precisely, a temporary malfunction of the steam cracking unit, was probably linked to the origin of this luminous feature. The inhabitants of this region thought of all the hypotheses, even the most terrifying, even if the gas is not without danger either. The advantage is that the next time it happens, they won't panic. In Costa Rica, an 11-year-old boy was sitting quietly by the door of his house. While he was taking pictures of himself, he looked up to the sky and saw an impressive cloud, not at all like the ones he is used to seeing. He then took pictures to immortalize the phenomenon. It was in fact an iridescent and multicolored cloud, hence the phenomenon called iridescent cloud. This very thin cloud has drops of ice crystals that when they move away will generate an iridescence of the light, thus giving a colored aspect to the cloud. And for a phenomenon like this to occur, the cloud must be thin so that the light meets only one water droplet or crystal of thickness. It's true that the young boy, like many other people, thought of a sign of the end of time or an alien invasion, but a lot can happen in the head of an 11-year-old, you know. The Costa Rican was much more relieved once we explained to him what caused this breathtaking cloud. He will definitely have seen all the colors this little one. In 2015, the inhabitants of the Australian region of Gippsland had the pleasant and above all astonishing surprise of seeing a wonderful spectacle unfold before their eyes. Well, over their heads to be more exact. It was a rainbow in the middle of the clouds, commonly called a Verga hole. Not knowing exactly what it was, the inhabitants of Gippsland tried to find a plausible explanation for this intriguing phenomenon, especially since Australians had not long ago witnessed other incredible phenomena, including the spectacular wall of clouds in Sydney. The rainbow of the state of Victoria was for the below much more impressive. It appeared in the form of a hole in the sky, leaving a magnificent multicolored panel in the middle, surrounded by clouds. In reality, this phenomenon is not so unknown as that. The Verga hole tends to form generally when some of the water droplets of the clouds suddenly freeze. These turn into ice crystals that, when crossed by the sun's rays, let appear a rainbow that seems to separate the clouds around it. Unfortunately for those inhabitants, they are not ready to attend such a spectacle anytime soon because it occurs only very rarely. But at least they will have taken some beautiful pictures as souvenirs. It's a rainy night, there's a huge thunderstorm brewing, and lightning is breaking out from time to time. Fortunately, you are well sheltered at home. As you are watching nature get angry, you suddenly see something incredible. You see in the sky a huge lightning bolt, but not like the one you are used to see in normal times. This lightning has the appearance of a big jellyfish with tentacles that snake downwards, and it is red in color. This phenomenon, although it is very rare, is not extraordinary. It is in fact a transitory luminous phenomenon, sometimes called by scientists red sylphs, lightning of greater magnitude than those we all know. They only have been known to scientists for a few years, since they are very rare and generally only last a few milliseconds. They form above cumulonimbus clouds up to the ionosphere, that is to say, at an altitude of 80 or 90 kilometers. These types of flashes occur when lightning strikes the ground and tends to release positive electrical energy that must be compensated for by equal and oppositely charged energy elsewhere in the sky. Sprites or sylphs are the electrical discharges that balance this amazing equation. The gas is then caused by the bursting of electricity, hence the red color. Are you afraid at the sight of this incredible spectacle? I understand you. It is not every day that we see such a thing. Take advantage of it anyway and take pictures. You will have beautiful things to show your grandchildren later on. You are in Gibraltar because you have come to admire this magnificent region, and in this case, it's a legendary rock. Suddenly, you notice that above it, there is an impressive cloud. And not only that, you have the impression that this cloud is moving at such a speed that it looked like someone was blowing on it. It was actually the effects of a Levante, an east wind that made the coast rise with humidity, and it is by condensing that the latter created this cloud breathtaking. The winds have therefore attributed this incredible effect. You are impressed it is normal, but be careful not to catch a cold. You will want to see impressive things and admire the spectacles of nature. We can say that you are well served. You've probably noticed for some time that photos of a mysterious black ring have been floating around on the net, generating the most unimaginable speculations on the explanation of its origin. And I bet you'd like to know what it is too, wouldn't you? Alright, so listen up. This mysterious black smoke ring has been observed all over the world, so it's very common. While some people thought it was a factory chimney and others thought it was fireworks, it's nothing like that. The truth is that some young people have fun creating smoke rings with very special devices. For example, in Switzerland, in Etiswil, a young man named Otti welded an exhaust pipe belonging to an old tractor and used a mixture of gasoline and oil to make the smoke dense. He then sent the ring into the air and held it thanks to the favorable atmospheric conditions. You were scared, weren't you? Did you also think of an alien invasion? Don't worry, they are not aliens. Nevertheless, you now know what today's youth are capable of, and that's the most worrying thing. So what do you think of these incredible phenomena? Which one do you find the most frightening? Tell us what you think in the comments, and if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all the notifications and not miss anything from our upcoming content.